Well, good afternoon, Redemption Ministries friends and family. It's my privilege to share with you a word from the Lord. It's recently I've been reading in Isaiah, particularly in chapter 40, and I really sense that there's something in here that God wants me to impart to you and encourage, especially pastors and church leaders, that you can go on and encourage and really instill this in the hearts and the lives of our congregations. In Isaiah chapter 40, chapter 40 starts a whole new section in Isaiah, and they begin to think about the restoration. And it starts out there with comforting people. And then the last part of that chapter, we're familiar with it. Those that rise up with wings as eagles, they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. And what a powerful picture, the eagles rising and soaring. But I think the context is even more powerful as we look back a few verses. And you'll notice there, beginning in verse 28, that the Lord asked two questions. He asked it earlier in the chapter, I think in verse 21 or something. He says this question. He says, have you not known and have you not heard? It's two good coaching questions there. What do you know? What do you not know? What have you heard that you've forgotten? What do you know that you've forgotten? And particularly, what has God said to you? But right after that, here's the answer to what have you known, or what do you know, or do you not know, or have you not heard? He says, you have forgotten that the everlasting God, the Lord, it's all capital letters in our English Bible. It refers to Yahweh, Jehovah, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not become weary or tired. His understanding is inscrutable. In other words, it's beyond fathoming and comprehending and understanding by humans. And he goes on to say there, God gives strength to the weary, and to him who lacks might or power, he's going to increase power. I'm so glad that God doesn't withhold his strength and his power just because I'm weak. In fact, he says, I'll give it to you. But the power is, if you continue to read, you'll see the power of this passage here. He energizes, the message says, he energizes those who get tired. He gives fresh strength to dropouts. Oh, we know that about 50% of the church seemingly has dropped out of face-to-face, in-person meetings nowadays. So they need that. And then he contrasts the youth. He says, youth, they're eventually going to grow weary. They're going to get tired. Even a vigorous young man, a man who's been chosen and selected, and look at how good he is, how strong he is, he's going to stumble badly. But I love what he says next. It's a key word in the NIV or the King James, but those, or yet is the New American Standard, those who wait for the Lord will gain, here's the key word, new strength. Not strength of your own that gets better, but he's going to gain strength. Those who hope in the Lord, he's going to renew their strength, literally. And that word hope is kavav, and it refers to literally hope, or a expectation, a waiting with expectation. It's becomes another compound word for that is tikva. You probably have heard that, hope for Israel. And it's the idea of a confident, expectant hope. You're waiting with confidence. And some translations have trust. Those that wait expectantly, who are trusting and encouraging, believing God, is going to renew. The word renew literally means to change or exchange. The idea is you get to change your human strength, as hard as it is. See, this is not about us gritting and kind of gritting and bear it and pull up our bootstraps and get stronger and stronger, Pastor. In fact, the first part of the passage I read talked about the everlasting God and the creator God. It's as if Isaiah, through the word of the Lord, is saying, have you forgotten the God who begins, who creates, and the God who ends, the everlasting? In between, you're growing weary. You're growing tired. Yeah, God promised. That's the covenant through Abraham. Yes, he's going to renew it. There's going to be an ultimate messianic kingdom and covenant fulfillment. But in between, you're growing weary. Pastor, God says, God is not growing weary. The Lord Jehovah, who makes a covenant relationship with you, he's not growing weary. And you know what? All of your might and all of your strength, you'll still get worn out. But I'm so glad that God says, I will give strength to you. In fact, my strength is going to be so unique. It's going to be like as if you soar into the high sky with wings as eagles. And you're going to run and not grow weary. You're going to walk and not faint. I wonder if the idea of run refers to working extra hard, doing the extraordinary, and walk has to do with doing the everyday, ordinary parts of life. Pastor, I want to encourage you. I do know, you have not forgotten. God will give you strength, not your strength made better, but replace and exchange it. You've grown tired, you've grown weary. I have so many calls and words from pastors. Pastor Jared Fabak's in the hospital from One City Church. My good friend Gary Bryant is dealing with COVID. Larry Hudnall, several other pastors and ministers. You know the story. Tommy Smith, his sister passed away. We have two very key leaders in one of our country churches, Gordonsville, Sylvia, Calvin Hill. Calvin's in the hospital with COVID. He's an elderly man. These are people that I'm growing tired and weary, my flesh and my humanity, and I'm grieving, I'm crying, I'm in pain, I lament. And I want you to know that it's okay. God says, if you'll exchange your strength for mine, you will rise above and run and walk. God bless you. I want you to know that I'm praying for you. Thank you for your prayers for me. God bless you.